Prince Andrew has claimed that he's not a close friend of Ghislaine Maxwell as part of his legal response to Virginia Giuffre's claims. And you're about to find out why it's so important to mind who you choose to hang out with. Welcome back, my body language buddies. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy, and it would be great if you join us by just liking this video, subscribing, and hitting that bell. Let's get down to it. Maybe one of the strongest proofs against Andrew's claim is the fact that Ghislaine Maxwell was invited to Princess Beatrice's 18th birthday party at Windsor Castle. And look who she was with: Harvey Weinstein and Jeffrey Epstein. In fact, Andrew was asked this very question on that BBC interview. How come he invited Epstein to his daughter's birthday, just 2 months after he was issued an arrest warrant for you already know which charge? And Andrew's answer was, because I was asking Ghislaine.
Because I was asking Ghislaine. But even so, at the time, I don't think certainly I wasn't aware when the invitation was issued what was going on in the United States. And I wasn't aware until the media picked up on it, because he never said anything about it.
I think this is one of the weakest arguments that anyone can claim, no matter if you're a royal or a commoner. I did not know what was he involved in. Like, all that was happening in the US, he was just not aware of the news. But that's a mistake that a non-public person can sometimes afford to make, but not such a public person like a member of the royal family. I don't think the Queen was aware of this, because she would never have allowed these people hanging out at these places, much less sit at Buckingham Palace throne, as you can see in this picture. That's Maxwell with Kevin Spacey, which also has been charged with that kind of allegations. I mean, you can't but think about the saying, birds of a feather flock together. And precisely, Andrew said that he did not invite Epstein directly to his daughter's birthday. He said that he invited Ghislaine. So is she a close friend or not? What's even more baffling is, what was Harvey Weinstein doing there? Was it like a 3-for-1 invitation? How does that work? Now, there must be a reason why Andrew is willing to have a jury trial in the US. And a trial like this is going to be really public and can become really messy really quickly, unless your attorneys really know what they are doing. And Virginia Giuffre's statements have a few inconsistencies, so that must be one of the reasons he's going to take that risk. The problem is that the fallout of the process precisely in the year of the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. But then, making statements such as, I'm not that good friend of Ghislaine Maxwell, are in the league of I don't sweat. Because, okay, anyone is innocent until proven guilty, but we can say that Andrew already lost in the trial of public opinion. And I already explained what are the implications of him being stripped of all his military titles and charities. But there is another clip from that infamous interview that makes reference to his friendship.
On balance, could I have avoided ever meeting him? Probably not. And that's because of my friendship with Ghislaine. It was inevitable that we would have come across each other.
I have said many times that you shouldn't judge a person by their family. Not for good, not for bad, because family is not something that you choose unless you're inside a Fast and Furious movie. But it's much more relevant when you begin to really pay attention to the people someone hangs out with. And in the case of Andrew and Ghislaine, some of the palace's staff thought for a minute that they had an intimate relationship due to so many times they saw her coming in and out at every hour that you can imagine. And this is very useful when you want to analyze someone's behavior and they try to conceal it in any way. Every single one of us has the drive to form a tribe. Even introverts, there is no distinction about this. Introverts have a harder time forming tribes just because we just hang out with fewer people in person. But today's tribes are also online, and that's why we hang out online with those who have similar values to ours. Like you, my body language buddies. Big shout out to you, you rock. And it's concerning enough that you see someone, in this case Prince Andrew, hanging out with people who have been involved in such bad juju. That's not an energy you want in your life. I say energy because there is an actual exchange of energy between the members of a group or tribe, because we precisely form packs, groups, tribes, because we have a common drive together. Not necessarily a goal, but we are hardwired to form groups with those akin to us. And the more time we spend in those groups, the more the behavior of every member of the group becomes similar. This happens spontaneously because everyone behaving in pretty much the same way was one of the factors that guaranteed survival. But these groups had to be usually less than 100 people, which is the barrier when the tribe begins to break down into smaller factions. I'm mentioning all this because that's another baffling aspect of Andrew wanting a jury trial. Especially because who you hang out with also determines how people perceive you. And how do you think the public opinion perceives Andrew at this point? It's a very complicated situation because public perception is always going to influence the whole social system. That's why William and Charles must be urging Andrew to settle this out of court. But Virginia is still adamant of going to a trial, and she has all the right to do so. And he also addresses another important angle on that interview.
I think that the problem, social media, there is a whole range of things that you face now that you didn't face 25 years ago because it was just the print media.
So he's also aware and afraid of public perception. Notice that he doesn't mention the internet that has been around for much longer, but specifically social media. And why does he mention social media? Because channels such as Twitter, that by the way started in the same year of Beatrice's birthday, allow for a direct, instant conversation. An organic conversation that you just cannot control. And what's more, it remains published and public forever. That's what he's addressing now. So, in some sense, trying to say that he is not a close friend of Maxwell, or even given that train wreck of an interview, is behaving like social media doesn't exist. It would not be a stretch to think that he deciding to have a jury trial on the US is part of that anachronos stance in which he thinks that everything still works like before Y2K, and he's ripe for a very harsh wake-up call. I've seen in those open and public comments about Andrew's case many people saying that he's doing the right thing. I am not so sure about that, but again, I suppose that his attorneys know what they are doing and he is listening to them. You might remember that he did this interview in spite of being warned over and over against doing it. So even his informed decisions haven't been that sharp. I think it's extremely important to remind the fact that one should be absolutely aware of who you hang out with. Sometimes people hang out with very bad fellows just because they want to escape from something or want to live some thrills or just want to be part of a group that represents something you crave. That's why you should keep a cool head in every circumstance, whether if it's a crisis or an opportunity, because that is going to be the only way to see right through the people you're choosing to hang out with. And your future self will be thankful for that. If you want to refine your observation skills, all you have to do is download my 100 body language tips right in the description of this video. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas and it will always be a pleasure, my body language buddies. Much love and bliss.